highlight the unique stories of African football that happened this year. A lot of stuff happened both on and off the pitch, and I thought a lot of it was very, very funny. In January, a picture surfaced of a referee looking at a TV to seemingly review a VAR decision, despite the fact that the match was played on a dirt pitch. And in the background, there were many men yielding guns, potentially threatening the referee if he was to make the wrong decision. There was no context to this picture. We don't know where it was or what happened after, but it was just very interesting to see. That was one of my favorite pictures of the year. Next up, we'll move on to Munir, who he's a Spanish Moroccan. He's been linked to playing for Morocco for so many years, but he wasn't able to because he played for Spain initially, for the national team initially. And Morocco or FIFA, they made this rule to change the eligibility requirements, and it was seemingly made for Munir. We don't know if the Moroccan FA lobbied for this rule, but it was expected that Munir would be the type of player or the prototype that would benefit from this type of ruling. And unfortunately, because of technicality, he did not make it. So it just seemed like a pretty big blunder on the Moroccan FA's part.
It was more than a technicality. They decided the ruling set just for him, and then as he was on the brink of making his debut the afternoon, he was told, "Oh, by the way, we've just realised that 2 of the matches you played for Spain's under-21 team, you played when you were over 21, when you were 21 itself." And no one knew before that, as far as I'm aware, that under-21 matches, at least not for 15 years, could cap tie you from playing for internationals. But apparently, neither did Munir, neither did Morocco.
Yeah.
But on the eve of him about to make his international debut, the very afternoon itself, he was told he wasn't allowed to, which is, I mean, you complained earlier about people ditching Africa for European countries, and to see a guy trying to make...
You really have to feel for him.
Yeah, all the red tape is, poor Munir, hey? One day he'll make his debut.
Yes. Next up, former Arsenal and Barcelona player Alex Song made a very shocking move to Djibouti side Arta Solar 7. That one made no sense to me, Ed.
Well, perhaps not, although the president of Djibouti of the Djiboutian club was very convinced that Alex Song would play a key role in helping that club reach new heights in African football and would achieve greater success in continental competitions. So you never know, in a few years' time, if Arta Solar are one of CAF's big boys, then maybe we'll look at that as not such a...
Sorry, did you say improved performances in CAF competitions?
Yes.
So in Alex Song's debut in a CAF club competition, Arta Solar lost 10-1 on aggregate to Arab contractors in the CAF Confederations Cup. So that scoreline alone is very embarrassing, let alone for a former...
Malek. Improvement is relative, okay? So maybe they would have lost 15-1 without Alex. Maybe they would have lost 10-0 without Alex Song, but it was 10-1, and that is all that matters.
Wow. I personally never heard of Arta Solar 7 before. I was surprised that they had reached the Confederation Cup, but they will not be in it anymore after that shocking performance.
Well, they reached the Confederation Cup, I believe, by winning the Djibouti Cup. I think they were even a second division team who were promoted, and they won the cup, which is why they won the Federation Cup. So I think, they were entering continental football at the same time as they were tasting top flight football, which is perhaps explains why Arab contractors found it so straightforward to breach their defence.
I'd say more than straightforward. It was a bit of a massacre.
Well, the Djibouti second division isn't perhaps the best training ground, the best preparation ground for one of Egypt's oldest clubs.
All right. Next up, this one is more of a positive story. In Liberia, a 16-year-old referee by the name of Samuel Zayon was the match official for a cup in the Liberian FA Cup. I thought that was very interesting. It was pretty weird to see a young kid hold the game ball, was surrounded by a bunch of players who might have been twice his age.
Maybe he was
inspiring.
Maybe he was the understudy of the referee in your first story, who was surrounded by the gunman, and he was already...
Potentially. We also saw this post, as you can see now, from Enyimba, praising or being thankful that one of their players escaped from a kidnapping. That was very weird, especially to see from one of Africa's biggest clubs. Earlier in the year, we saw Togolese legend Emmanuel Adebayor sign for Paraguayan side Olympia, and was a very strange move, but it was very nice to see a viral video of him arriving at the airport surrounded by troves of Paraguayan fans supporting the Togolese international. A few days later, in the Copa Libertadores, the biggest competition in South America, Adebayor kung fu kicked a player in the face while attempting an aerial duel and was promptly sent off. And by June, he had left the club after playing just 4 games because of COVID issues. So it was a pretty weird move, pretty absurd why he moved there. And then the kung fu kick to the face wasn't great either.
Shooting stars burn the brightest, but they fade out the quickest, Malek.
Yes, we can apply that to the Nigerian shooting stars team also, considering how poor they are now. Next up, we have South Sudan striker Taban Mccoy Manyang. He plays in New Zealand. He's 21. He was a member of the South Sudanese national team, but when he was dropped from the team, the most recent national team, he posted a picture on Instagram of him burning his national team jersey in something which garnered quite a lot of controversy and most likely ended any chance of him representing South Sudan in the future. Would you burn your jersey, Ed?
I remember when Hossam Ghali threw the Tottenham kit on the ground and the fans never accepted him back. So I would be somewhat surprised if these South Sudanese supporters welcomed him back. That might also be illegal as well. In a lot of countries, it's illegal to burn anything.
Flags. Yeah.
Well, or the emblem or the coat of arms of the country. So I think, I wonder if South Sudanese judiciary will be after him.
Our final mini section in the absurdity section is all about Ghanaian winger Bernard Morrison. He has caused quite a lot of trouble this year, Ed. I'm going to start I have a bit of a chronological order for this. So in January, he went viral for showboating with Yanga, stepping over the ball, standing on top of the ball while dribbling and moving it forward. He does this multiple times, but that video went viral. In March, he scored a screamer of a free kick against Simba in Tanzania's biggest rivalry of Yanga versus Simba. And after doing that, he did his signature celebration of pretending to be a dog and urinating. It's pretty, I don't know what to make of it. He's done it before with Orlando Pirates, so I don't know how he's been allowed to go on.
Yeah, homage to Nigeria legend Finidi George, who did the same thing at the '98 World Cup.
It's just such a disrespectful celebration. Like, out of everything, that might be the worst. We will find out he then moved to Simba, which very controversial, but considering the celebration he did against them and then how he moved to that team, I'm kind of curious where his head was at. But in July, while he's still with Yanga, he was substituted off in their 4-1 loss to Simba. And after he was substituted, he went straight out of the stadium instead of sitting on the bench. And when he was approached by a reporter, he said he could only speak his native language and he could not speak English, despite the fact that he posts in English on social media. So that was pretty interesting. And after that move, there were reports of a potential move to Simba from Yanga, which was obviously very controversial at the time, considering the rivalry. And at the end of the month, he was arrested for marijuana possession before being released. And there were some reports.
Alleged marijuana possession.
Yes. And there were some reports that Simba or Yanga might have had something to do with the arrest because of the impending transfer. But in August, he finally joined Simba. And he's a great player. Simba are a great team. I'm happy to see the move. But in October, he was hit with a 3-match ban for punching a player after his teammate was fouled. So he really can't help himself. I love this type of player, though. Someone who's always bringing controversy. That's my favorite thing in football, Ed.
The punching, urinating types, they're favorites, are they?
Yes. It's just class.
I'm not sure. I like my strikers to be clean role models like Harry Kane.
They're literally polar opposites. It's worth noting that Morrison is currently hospitalized with malaria, so we do wish him the best of luck so he can get back to the field and continue to embarrass his opponents.
Let's hope he's scoring goals rather than punching defenders, shall we, Malek?
I think both are equally as good. If one or the other, I don't mind.